Today I'm going to talk about 7 things you need to know before starting your bookkeeping business. I'm Morgan from FinePoints.biz, and I love helping you guys organize your bookkeeping businesses. Make sure you subscribe to my channel by hitting the red button down below and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. All right, number 1 is first make sure you do your research before you start your bookkeeping business, obviously, but you want to know what you're getting into because bookkeeping isn't like being a teacher or being a doctor. It's not someone that we come in contact with on an everyday basis. Like everyone knows what a teacher does and you can kind of picture yourself and if you'd like that or if you wouldn't like that. But bookkeeping isn't the same way. A lot of people don't really understand what it is, or they don't, maybe they've never met a bookkeeper or they've never interacted with one before in their life. So definitely do your due diligence and use things like this channel and all the free content on it to give you an idea of what the bookkeeper's day look like, what we do on a daily basis, and what are the tasks that you're going to need to be completing. Because it actually might surprise you all the details of what a bookkeeper does. All right, and number 2, you have to learn QuickBooks, or you have to learn whatever program you're using. In the United States, the most common program is QuickBooks. And now, anecdotally, I'd say that the most common is QuickBooks Online. When I started bookkeeping 6 years ago, that wasn't the case. A lot of people still use desktop, but I have definitely seen the transition to QuickBooks Online over the years. So you can be a bookkeeper. You don't need a certain degree, or you don't need to go to school for a certain amount of time. You don't need a certain amount of credits or continuing education credits, but you do need to know what you're doing, and you need to definitely have a grasp of QuickBooks and accounting, general accounting principles and what to do. So I have a video all about what certifications are available for bookkeepers. Again, it's not a regulated field, so no one's going to be, like checking on your credentials necessarily. Maybe if you work for like a big corporate office or something that they would require certain credentials, but generally if you're working for small business owners, they really don't understand anything about the bookkeeping industry because it's even hard for bookkeepers to keep straight. As long as you have done the education that makes you feel comfortable working with clients, you are good to go. And then I also have a video about how to get to the free QuickBooks Online Accountant Pro Advisor certification. So I'll leave those videos linked down below in the description box. Another thing you need to know about bookkeeping is there is very little room for errors. So if you're the type of person who is not at all detail oriented, then bookkeeping is probably not the best profession for you. And yes, you are able to, in most cases, correct any errors that you make, and there are checks and balances. You can check different reports and check things to make sure that you don't have errors. But it is important that at the end of the month, your balance in QuickBooks matches the bank balance exactly to the penny. And if that's not the case, you're gonna have to go back through and find out where, the mistake where you went wrong, which does happen to every bookkeeper, and that's okay. But the more careful and error-free you can be as you're inputting things and on the front end, then that's gonna save you a lot of time in the long run. And I am always very aware that I am dealing with someone's livelihood, with their business and with their finances, and probably their employees' lives and their family lives. And so I take that very seriously, and I want to make sure that I don't have errors and that I'm being as accurate as is humanly possible so that I can give the best value to my clients and I can help them the most with their business. Next one, before you start bookkeeping, you're going to need to know that you will need to prioritize security. So again, as I was saying, you are dealing with really confidential information as a bookkeeper, and you need to know how to keep it secure. So you may need to invest in certain tools or systems to keep all of your clients' credit cards secure. If it's credit cards, if it's bank information, you may need to get a lock on your office door and a locked file cabinet to keep confidential papers. I use LastPass to store all my passwords for any client logins that I need to do. I never ever do work in a coffee shop or a public place. I always use private Wi-Fi. I know you can do that if you have a VPN. You might need to research some of these different security options and things that you need so you can make sure everything stays really confidential. The next thing you need to know before starting your business is that you will always be learning. So if it is frustrating for you to come up to an obstacle and need to research it and figure it out, then bookkeeping may not be the best fit. Because even after I've done it for years and years and years, anytime I get a new client, I'm always learning new things. There's always new technology in QuickBooks that's coming out, or in the past year they've had an online receipt capture that I had to learn, and I really enjoy learning that new technology. So yes, there is a steeper learning curve at the beginning as you're getting ramped up and you're learning everything, but even as as an experienced bookkeeper, I believe you're still gonna come across things that you need to have the attitude of a continual learner and that grit that you're really going to be able to figure those things out. All right, and next you're gonna have to learn marketing. So I know you probably became a bookkeeper maybe because you like numbers and Excel sheets and helping out people get organized in their businesses, but you also have to have that little bit of marketing like gumption as well. Unless you're at a place where you can hire that out, you are gonna have to be the person who, put ads on job posting sites or networks in your community or goes out there and tries to find clients. And it can be hard to get your first client and your first couple of clients, especially when you have that imposter syndrome. I made a video about that if you want to check it out below. And you feel like you aren't qualified or you don't have that much experience or that many references, but you still have to kind of power through that and fake it till you make it and have the confidence inside to know that you can do it. Again, I have a couple videos with marketing ideas. I'll put those down below, but make sure you don't forget that aspect of bookkeeping as you are starting your business. The good news though is that once you have a full load of clients, you don't have to do as much marketing. You're not continually getting clients, but at the beginning there is definitely that step. And then you also have to know it's hard work. So I come on here all the time saying bookkeeping is the best business to start. It's really low cost, a really low startup cost, and you have a huge potential to make a great income, and all those things are 100% true, but it is not like a super easy scheme to get you tons of money right away. You have to work at it and you have to build your business over time, and over time it is a really great income opportunity, and it can be really fulfilling and rewarding to be helping these business owners, but you do have to put in the time and effort. All right, so today's video is short and sweet. Definitely give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and thanks for staying to the end because I'm going to do another Q&A Tuesday. So both Denny and Alicia asked me about getting experience before you get started. So Alicia says, do you have to have previous accounting experience before you get started? And Denny said he's graduating with an accounting degree and he's going to take the QuickBooks certification. So he didn't know if he should, dive in and get started with his business or work for an accounting firm first. So for Denny, he has his accounting degree. If I was him, I would recommend just diving right in and starting your business. It might be a little bumpy at first. You might have to figure out some things. Maybe you can shadow an accountant that you have seen or within your schooling. But I feel that you're never gonna feel 100% ready to start your business. So I really recommend people just get started and just learn as you go. And that's gonna be a little bit of a personality thing. I know some people wanna have, all their ducks in a row 100% before they do anything. And of course you always want to be honest with your clients and mindful that you're not messing anything up. But if you feel like if you've done a whole accounting degree, you could probably be a bookkeeper and just start out getting clients. And with the accounting degree question, you do not need an accounting degree to be a bookkeeper. So those are two separate things. It helps to know a little bit about accounting and have some background as a bookkeeper, but accountants, CPAs, they need a certain qualifications and certain schooling and education and continuing education and credits to be a licensed accountant, but bookkeepers do not need that. We just need to know what we're doing and able to serve our clients. And then usually we partner with a CPA at tax time or a tax preparer so we can get their knowledge and their expertise in that time. All right, and then Andrea, I believe is her name, asked, how do you set up the chart of accounts? And she said, especially for someone that's just getting started and doesn't have a focused niche. So the chart of accounts is basically it's already in QuickBooks all set up and you can make as many changes to it as you want. So oftentimes when you are starting a new business, it'll ask you what industry it is. There's probably I don't know how many different chart of accounts are in QuickBooks, probably I would say 5 to 10 or so, depending on different industries, whether you have inventory, or I think construction is pretty specific, so maybe construction would have certain things. But for most of my clients that have fairly similar and general categories like office supplies and utilities and rent, there's a general chart of accounts. And then I personally make tons and tons of changes to the chart of accounts just because I have a specific way I think my brain works that I want to organize things within the in the chart of accounts and on the profit and loss statement. And if you don't know, the chart of accounts is just all the categories that your expenses are going to be put into, and then those categories, those accounts, show up on the profit and loss statement that you're sending to your client. So to make a long story short, basically you don't have to set up the chart of accounts from scratch. First of all, it's already in there for you. And you can choose a business specific chart of accounts if that applies to your industry. And 3, you can change it as much as you want. So I hope that helps. All right, and this is actually similar to a question I answered last week, but it comes up a lot. All right, so this person is asking basically, they don't already have their business. Are they able to sign up for QuickBooks Online Accountant? And yes, you definitely can. Just make up a business name, make it Morgan's Bookkeeping Business or whatever you want, and then you can go back and change it later. You don't need anything official to sign up for QuickBooks Online. All right, and then Angel Rescue asks, do you have one accountant that you provide to all your clients, or do your clients get their own accountants? And then I work with a bunch of different accountants. So the answer for that for me is that I work with a bunch of different accountants. So each of my clients usually has their own accountant, and then they introduce them to me and I send them all the reports they need. So of course, if you have an accountant that you like and your client doesn't have one, you can definitely, refer them. I know I actually found my personal accountant from one of my clients because I really liked him, and I'd worked with a bunch of clients and he was my favorite out of all of, his communication and style. I really liked. So yeah, you can do it either way, I guess, but typically a business will already have an accountant by the time I come in. That's just how it's been for most of my clients. All right, hope you guys have a great week. Talk to you later. Bye.